everyone. Welcome to the show. My name is Orgena Rose, and I am here with Alexa Linton, who is known as a modern-day cowgirl on a mission. Alexa, please welcome to the show.
Thank you, Orgena.
It is an absolute pleasure to have you, and I'm so excited to share with everyone out there about your over 10 years of experience working with horses, right? And also your really, as you call it, your secret sauce, the body talk system. Yes. So tell us a little bit about your work with horses and how did you come to the body talk system?
That is quite a long story.
That's a lot.
I will chunk it down for
All right,
you.
good.
Just in essence of time. I actually, way back when, graduated from university as a kinesiologist, and then I had a lifelong obsession with horses, even then. I mean, I was one of those ones that was born into, like, you know, horse posters plastered all over my room.
Wow.
And, you know, I just knew that I needed to be around them.
Yes.
So I got back into horseback riding in my 5th year of university, and I ended up working with a horse that had some structural issues. And I found it highly frustrating that I didn't, you know, it had 5 years of education and all this anatomy and physiology work, and I didn't know how to practically apply it to help him. And so it started me on this search for something, because of course I was looking, what am I going to do after university? What's that going to look like? So I actually found a school called the BC College of Equine Therapy. And that was the start of that journey. So I ended up getting in there and doing a 2-year certification, which was absolutely mind-blowing. My teacher there was a complete pioneer. So he was way before his time into doing applied kinesiology with horses, energy medicine with horses, Reiki, flower essences. I mean, it ran the gamut. And so he was my starting point into energy medicine.
Beautiful.
And
beautiful.
Horses. So
now, for those who may not know what kinesiology is,
absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's kind of funny, a funny story.
Okay.
Because I took kinesiology in university, which is the study of human movement, which is a pretty scientific thing, right?
Yes.
So when I went to equine therapy school, I thought, oh, we're going to study kinesiology. Right? Applied kinesiology. I thought, oh, it's just kinesiology applied. Perfect.
Not
so much. So essentially, that was a part of the mind-blowing bit, because I had been raised in a super scientific family, black and white, and here I was being introduced to multiple shades of gray in terms of doing applied kinesiology, and which, you know, we used as a form of animal communication in many respects, working with the horses and getting a sense of nutritional balance and supplementation, even things like saddle fit or emotional balance we were using the applied kinesiology with. And I continue to do today. So so it was really incredible for me.
That was a huge shift.
It was a huge shift. I mean, that 2 years was probably one of my most uncomfortable times, because just trying to wrap my head around this whole new paradigm.
A whole new world for you.
Was, you know, wow, very difficult. But because I had the horses there, I mean, I was working with hundreds of horses a year doing my practicum. And they would each teach me
something different,
something more. They'd kind of push my edges,
about yourself,
about myself. And I just remember, you know, constantly going out to these properties and these horses teaching me, like, you know, one more thing and one more thing. A really funny story, if I can share. Sure. So when I first went out, we went to school for our very first month, and we did our 2 days, and we learned to massage the neck muscles, and that was that was it. And I was like, all right, I totally have this. I went out into the field to work on these horses, and I kid you not, every single one of them was literally skittering away from me. I mean, they were like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I go back to school, and I go up to Dave, and I'm literally, like, tears are coming down my face. I'm like, I'm like committed to this 2 years of school.
And you can't even massage a horse,
to touch them.
I can't touch a horse.
I can't touch them.
Wow. Okay.
And he goes, okay, Alexa, I think it's time we teach you how to ground. And I was like, what?
What's that?
And and so that was kind of my beginning of my education in how energy works.
Yes.
He said, Alexa, you're kind of like, it's kind of like there's this little tiny laser beam shooting off all over the place. And that's what the horses feel. And they don't want to be anywhere near it. I was like, well, I kind of get that. And so they would teach me if I was ungrounded that day, the horse would be like, you know, way up. And as soon as I, you know, planted my roots and got centered, all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm here.
And that's what you mean by grounding,
Absolutely.
Right? Like really getting quiet within, getting centered.
Yep.
Yeah, just really planting your feet,
Stable,
your energy. Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, horses were my greatest teachers in that because you don't get a better barometer.
Right.
You really don't.
So they won't respond to you. Okay, right?
And even under saddle. So around that time I got, you know, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but I got Diva. At the same time as I started school. So I started school in September, got Diva, met Diva in November.
And Diva is an amazing horse. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, and we'll find out a whole lot more about Diva.
We will.
In just a moment.
Absolutely.
Now, before we get into that, this applied kinesiology, this is where Body Talk.
Okay, let me give you the version here. So as I started to work with applied kinesiology, I would go out to a barn, work on a horse, and then the owner would say, hey, can you work on my dog? Can you work on my cat? Can you work on me? I know, some of them.
Okay.
And the humans, I was like, I don't know about this. But the animals, I was like, sure.
Right.
Because I was trying it out, experimenting, seeing what worked. And eventually I became quite well known for, because my results were so good that people would be like, and I'd get calls from dog and cat owners, alpaca, goats, you know, that sort of thing.
To work on
them, essentially on health issues, also behavioral issues. So it was across the gamut. And what I started to realize as I went along is I was always seeking more and more knowledge. I was always like, I'm very much that kind of person that's just fascinated by this work, and so I want to dive deeper. You know, you get that.
I completely do.
And so I'm like, okay, you know, there's something else. So I added some flower essence work into my stuff, and I added some, you know, deeper energy medicine and some other pieces. I was like, okay, that's not it. I knew that I had to get over my fear of working with people on that level.
Huge.
So one of my clients came to me one day and said, you know, I have just discovered this great thing. It's called the Body Talk system. This was about 7 years ago. She's like, you would love it. You need to check this out.
Wow.
I'm like, okay. So I went to a presentation, and I you know, I wasn't totally blown away. I was like, no, it's okay. Like, I kind of get it. And then this amazing woman took me aside. It was one of those, you know, divine intervention pieces.
Of course.
And she took me aside, and she said to me, her name was Bernadette, and she was just this beautiful woman. She'd been a kindergarten teacher her whole life. So she had that, you know, that kindergarten teacher way of being. She says, honey, I think you just need to come for one session, and we'll just see. And I was like, okay, you know, like, how do you say no to that? So
you don't.
So I went for my session, and literally halfway through, I just realized it was just this aha moment. I'm like, this stuff is amazing. I need to train in this. And I literally signed up. I left that session, went online, signed up for the next course.
Wow.
And I was...
That was it.
I was in. That was it.
Well, we're going to find out more about what that is, exactly what Body Talk is, and how you utilize that with the work that you've done. And we'll be back right after that. So come back with us with Alexa Linton. Sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. SoulPurposeBranding.com. Hello and welcome back. We are here with Alexa Linton in this amazing, beautiful location of Santa Barbara, California. But you're not from here. You're actually from Vancouver Island, yes?
I am. I'm Canadian.
Ah, yes.
eh?
I love it. I love it. Well, you've left us kind of hanging a bit about this Body Talk system that completely just, changed your life, and you were like signing up even before the session was over. You were ready. So what is Body Talk?
That is a great question. I think, most people who are involved in energy medicine are like, when someone says, what is this thing you do? You're like, well, and I know that you're wonderful people out there are, going to understand for sure. But, for me, what I saw with Body Talk was the natural continuation of my applied kinesiology work with the animals, which was very intuitive. So what I really liked to do with my horses was, make sure that they understood that I was there solely for what they needed. And I was listening to their body and exactly the way it wanted to heal, right? And express. And I wasn't going in with my own agenda and going like, this is what needs to happen. I was really sitting back and letting things unfold as they needed to and just holding space for that.
Yes.
And that was really, really an important part of my healing paradigm, let's say. So when I experienced Body Talk, I immediately was like, that's
it.
What it is. And the fellow that developed it calls it innate wisdom. I know, and I was like, it's all coming together. So as soon as I started to see what the basis of the system was, that it was essentially around this concept that the body is capable of healing itself if we give, we basically help that innate wisdom that already knows how to heal.
Yes.
We just help that along.
That's it. Yeah.
And what I started to see over time, initially my sessions were very simple and kind of, pretty easygoing,
right?
And then it started to get so juicy, and and this is where I started to branch out into some of my coaching work, which is sort of a later development.
So you finally shifted to humans.
Exactly, I shifted over.
To humans.
I shifted over, and then I started to have these clients come to me who were like, my relationship is having issues, or I just can't seem to get my career going, or I'm just blocked in this area, or whatever it was.
Yes.
And we were basically able to go in with Body Talk and clear out, not necessarily clear, but start to shift the stuff that the innate wisdom was saying, well, this belief is totally in the way, like this, I'm not lovable belief is getting completely in the way of this woman stepping out in her career and being seen, right? Or this fear of failure is coming up huge in this relationship and not allowing it to thrive. So then the innate wisdom would kind of bring those things through, and that's really what all Body Talk is. We use a biofeedback, which is essentially applied kinesiology technique.
Interesting.
And then, have a talk with the innate wisdom where it talks to us and as a facilitator, and then we see what wants to come up. So we're not applying any agenda. We're not like, I think this is what's going on. It just comes up as it needs, and it's constantly getting more fun because the stuff that comes up is like, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that's, and it's teaching you all the time because it brings in other things like, oh, we got to go to this other system and I don't know what it is, but oh, it's in this book over here, it's really interesting how it works.
There really is this listening for what is necessary to heal.
Absolutely.
To clear, to shift.
Totally.
And then if something comes up and you're not familiar with that, what do you do?
I just sit, we call it the zone in Body Talk.
Love it.
So it really, the founder talks about the left and the right brain and how when the left and the right brain are truly integrated, we hit this zone. And we see that, right? Like Michael Jordan when he plays basketball, boom, he's in the zone. And we do the same thing, and when we're in that place, those pop-ins start to drop out through the right brain, and we get these intuitive hits is what they are, and they'll come in, and then using the biofeedback we can go, is this what it is? And then the body goes, yep. That's it. And then and then we pull in any detail, and then we go from there.
Excellent.
It's very interesting stuff.
I love it because the zone, right? So I've called it the soul's bullseye. So it's just like, that's it, right there in the center.
And you can feel it.
Yeah, you totally can. And I love, again, listening to the body because it absolutely knows and it absolutely tells you, and it's up to us to listen.
Yes.
To, get still, listen, get some help, whatever that may be.
Absolutely.
But allow innate wisdom. I love that.
Isn't that nice?
I really love that.
I do too.
To simply come through. So what I'd love to know now is about how did we go from that work to diva? Right?
Yeah.
That seems a huge leap. So where did diva come from? Talk to us about that.
Okay.
I love this.
Let's go into this. So
yes.
Diva is my mare. I wish I had a picture of her. Maybe we'll have to put one up on the website or something.
One.
Yeah.
We'll see it.
So she is beautiful and she's my love. And so she was actually my first horse. So I got her when I was 23.
Beautiful.
Over 10 years ago. And essentially we walked this walk together. So, you know, from the time I started in energy medicine, she was there by my side pushing my buttons and teaching me essentially all the way along. And so I call Diva my greatest teacher.
I think that's so powerful. I really have to jump in because I remember working with, and she's, you know, a major figure in the Broadway world. And she talked about a really dark time in her life, a really challenging low point in her life, and how it was in that time, I mean, she was ready to be done. Yeah. And she went through a program working with horses that really helped her to connect in with her own strength, with her power, with her, you know, truth, right? Her own innate wisdom. So that, and it really, that was her therapy. Like it was literally with the horses, and she credits that so profoundly as a major change in her life. So when we got to talk, and I got to find out, you know, that this is the work that you do in an even more powerful way, you know, to kind of even take it a deeper step, I thought, oh my goodness, I really wanted to connect more. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I think, you know, you saying that was the reflection of my story. I started off in that really deep, dark place. I didn't even know I was there in a lot of ways.
Many times we don't.
Right.
Many times we don't.
But there was that tendency, like, I just want to go. I don't, you know, I don't feel safe here. I don't fit in. I don't belong. And all this story around that. And it just that bearing down. And she just was such a light for me. And she just was like, you just got to keep coming to the barn, Mom. Like, that's
keep
it.
Showing up.
You keep showing up.
Keep showing up.
And that was what happened. I just kept showing up. And you know, whatever it took, because she was my bottom line. She was the thing in my life that had to be there, and I knew it spiritually. I was like, this is the one thing that cannot
not be here.
Right. And I will fight for this. But I didn't have anything else I was fighting
for
at the time.
Even if you don't fight for yourself.
Even if I wasn't fighting for myself. And since then, I've learned to fight for myself, and that was a huge piece for me. It's like, what does it look like to be strong in myself and to go, you are important, like I will stand up for you. Me.
I will stand up for me. Yeah. Right.
You know, and she really taught me that. So I call the process that I've been through, I call it becoming a diva. Because, you know, it's just been me stepping into that place of seeing that I'm important, seeing that I'm worth it, that I'm deserving, all those things,
all
right?
Those things. But defining it in a very different way, because many times we hear the word diva and we think of all of the negative connotations, right? Someone being self-centered or selfish or demanding and controlling and throwing tantrums and all of that nonsense. And you are absolutely redefining that word. And how do you define it?
For me, okay, so this is really fun. I call it the divine inspired vessel of awesomeness.
Yes! Now what was so amazing was before we even connected around this, I had been working on something similar. I had been redefining that word and working it in a very similar way. So when you told me what yours was, I was like, how perfect is this? We so have to talk about this. Yeah. Because that's huge. I think really that, and I'll share, that for me was my own biggest fear, was being called a diva. Wow. Not kidding.
Yeah.
So that I went so far the other direction.
Yeah, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that.
I don't want to be called a diva, so I'm not going to ask for what I want. I'm not going to try, I'm not going to be pushy. I don't want to be seen that way, so I won't even ask for anything, or I'll just take whatever, I'll just go with the flow, I'll just tolerate. I'll just tolerate, and it'll all be okay, because it's all in divine, and all of that, right? Yeah. But that's not it.
No,
right?
Not at all.
Right, because I was actually in fear. of being fully and truly who I am and allowing myself to truly love myself in the fullest way. That's not
and take care of yourself.
And take care of yourself,
Yeah.
right? Saying yes to yourself, you know, as I now call it, putting my spiritual oxygen mask on first.
Yes, absolutely. I love that metaphor.
Right?
Yes.
Because you have to do that for yourself first before you can go do it for anyone else on the planet.
Well, how helpful can you be if you're depleted
If
and
you're empty.
exhausted?
Yeah.
Like it's
Right.
that was where I would go is total adrenal burnout.
Completely.
I'm a complete fire,
Worn out.
you know,
Yeah.
constitution, and I would just
yeah.
bail,
Collapse.
and
Yeah.
could not help anybody.
No.
And it was like, okay, I need to stop this. This
Right, this is
pattern
not
cannot
working.
go on. And that was, I mean,
Yeah.
man, a huge
That's
learning.
huge.
I actually bulged a disc in my spine 2.5 years ago, and that was the, you know, the frying pan.
Yes.
I mean,
upside the head, so to speak.
I was out for close to 2 months on my back.
Yes.
You know, with the most extreme pain imaginable, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. Oh, gotta stop what I was doing and do it differently.
complete. Like this is
Yeah.
absolutely not working now.
Yeah.
Not just kind of not working.
No.
Like no,
This is done.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was an entire right side of my body compacted.
Yeah.
Like from the cervical spine and bursitis and, you know, sciatica, hamstring pull, groin pull, I mean all the way down the entire
Yeah.
right side of my body. So it comes through the body. That's why I love your body
does.
talk, because the body talks.
The body talks.
It really, really does. So now about this diva, right? So
Yeah.
divinely inspired vessel of awesomeness. Yes. So
Yes.
tell us about it. How are you helping folks with that?
Well, it's so funny because we met, you know, kind
Yes,
of around
as
this
this was
time,
birthing.
as it was kind of birthing,
Yes.
and I totally remember you. Orgena came up to me in the hallway. We were at a conference together, and she said, "Girl, who are you?" And I was like,
I know she did. She was like,
"Yeah." Me? What?
Talking to me?
Who? Is there
Me?
someone behind me? And I just remember that
Yeah.
it was sort of like being seen
Totally.
for the first time, and it was really wild for me.
yeah. Oh, I saw you clearly.
Yeah, and I just, you know, that was, at the time I was taking this business course, and I was really revamping things in my business because I'd done them the other way for a really long time, where I exhausted
It's not
myself
working.
and my resources, and it
Yes.
was not working.
Right.
And I knew that I needed to bring something else through that was much more from my heart as well. That was really calling to me. I
That's the
had a
key.
vision,
Yes.
and I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to bring this forth in me. It's
Yes.
really calling to me.
All right, so we'll dive into diva when we come right back, okay?
Awesome.
All right, come right back and we'll find out about diva with Alexa Linton. Sponsored by Soul Purpose Branding. Put your soul into your brand. Get your business on purpose. With Sabine Messner, the wizard of Soul Purpose Branding. soulpurposebranding.com. And we are back with Alexa Linton, about to find out about Diva. So Diva was not only your horse, but the Diva Project is now how you're taking all of your work and helping others, yes? So tell us about Diva.
Yeah, so, well, Diva, obviously my horse, but I really saw that journey she took me through as a process for people. And I was like, that's really important. It's really important for people to find their way from, you know, whatever it is. I called it the black sheep, ugly duckling complex.
Love it, yes,
You know, it's that like, I don't feel like I belong and I don't fit in, all that stuff.
Right.
To a place of going, yeah, this is where I need to be. This feels good.
Yes.
You know, being able to fully be present in our bodies, to hear what's coming up and the purpose that wants to come through us, and then move forward from there, which is really the space she held for me for all those.
Now,
you
how
know.
did she do it? How did she do that?
Well, really, what I see with horses is this incredible ability to be a mirror. So, for example, like I could get out of my car at the barn,
Yes.
and Diva would have me read head to toe, all my emotions, everything that's going on that day.
Really? Just
You know,
like that?
Just like that. Before I even get near her. Right?
Wow, so all your, like, you know, cover, pretend smiles.
Nothing.
None of that's working.
And in fact, The incongruency, what I mean by incongruency is, you know, when we, you know, fake it till you make it.
Yes.
So it's like when our insides don't match
the
our
outsides.
out. And we do it all the time. We're like,
Sure.
I'm so fine. And
Everything's
inside,
fine.
I'm like a seething mass of rage or something.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Or you're about ready to cry.
Completely.
Any
Or like you're totally ready to lose it.
Right.
But no, you're like,
Everything's
totally good. That sort of thing drives horses crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because they can totally feel that incongruency.
It's completely
not an
incongruent.
alignment.
And if you think about, you know, being a predator, it could be like a bear walks by them the same way, and one day it's like super full, and the next day it's super hungry, and it looks exactly the same. I mean, they had to figure out the difference to keep themselves safe, right?
Ooh, that's powerful.
Kind of neat.
That's really powerful, actually.
Yeah, it is really powerful.
And what that does, it makes me think of people. Right? And we're back to people, because that I very much believe this, that people who show up in our lives, situations with people that show up in our lives are mirrors of what's going on inside.
Absolutely.
That isn't in alignment. That's incongruent.
Yeah. So when we have those things that like those obstacles that show up and we're like, like those things, you know, opportunities to see something that needs to become, you know,
shifted or it needs to be illuminated first, so it can be shifted and healed and changed.
And I love it, because that's all that body talk does too, right? It's like you're just bringing something up. It was already there.
Yep.
And just saying, hey, look at this. You know, that's really all it is. And that's what horses do too. They go, hey, look at this.
Wow.
And you go, I don't want to look at that. Or what I chose to try to do was just show up to it. Right? And be like, what does this mean?
Right.
You know, when Diva would show up a certain way, rather than being like, you're a bad horse, or, you know, I would be like, and I would sit with it for a second and I would go, what's this all about?
Right.
You know? And really look at it from that angle. And it changed everything. I mean, I was able to cultivate so much wisdom through that practice with her. And now I can hold space for my clients in such a beautiful way.
And very unconditional, right? Unconditionally loving, just open, just holding the space rather than...
Because it doesn't matter what they're doing.
No. And they know that. They can feel that you're not judging them, that you're not, you know, thinking less of them or any of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's really huge.
And that was, I mean, that was one little gift that Diva gave to me and the horses gave to me, but I mean, that in itself is just
immense. It really
right?
is. It's profound, I think.
Yeah.
And I think just that approach, what you just said, when the stuff comes up, because
it does.
Because it's coming. Because it comes
It's never going to stop coming.
It's never not if. Right. It's not if the stuff comes up. It's when the stuff comes up.
Yeah.
Or as we like to say, the fertilizer of life.
Absolutely.
The fertilizer in your garden of life. And when it comes up, to be able to even come with that mentality, with that headspace, with that mindset is huge.
Absolutely.
Like, because I think our old way, or kind of maybe instinctual or reactive, I would say, way, is something's wrong with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not doing what I want. You're not you.
You need to change.
It's you. Right.
Well, that was how it was with Diva. I mean,
fix you.
I even tried to change her name once upon a time.
Oh, I love this.
I did.
You're kidding.
I tried to change it to D-E-V-A, like Deva, you know, like a sweet little Deva. And no, she was like, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, not so much.
You need to stop that. And that was huge for me too, because I was like, wow, look at me trying to change who she is in essence.
Right. Rather than simply accept what is.
Exactly. And allow it to be, you know, become
a teacher for you.
All these cool things, right?
Oh my gosh.
So.
Oh my goodness. So people that you work with, these are the things that you get to take them through.
Absolutely.
And what are some of the things that you've seen change for people?
Oh my gosh, everything. It's so cool. I mean, that's why I love this work, or one of the reasons. I mean, you just see miracles all the time.
Sure.
We call them body talk miracles. I mean, it's just, it's really fun to watch. And you know, one of the things that I love the most is, you know, if I have someone lying on the table, or even if they're on the phone, because I do this at a distance as well, is just this change in their whole being that happens. Like, it's like the wrinkles come out of their face, and the tension goes out of their shoulder, and their body starts to unwind. And you know, from that place, what we're capable of doing and experiencing is so different from this like place.
Uptight, wound, yeah,
you know, so even if that's what's happening in the session, that opens up pathways, neural and otherwise, in their life that are way different, and they're able to see things differently, and everything starts to change. Yeah. So I just love that, and I mean, you know, I have so many stories. I wouldn't be able to share all of them today, but yeah, I mean, it's profound what can happen.
What is one thing that you could share with everyone today that they could just begin to implement some of it? Okay. Right today.
Well, there is one thing, and maybe what I'll do, because it does take a little time, and I know we're a little short on that, is there's something called the cortices, and the cortices is one of the main techniques from the body talk system.
The cortices.
The cortices. Okay. And basically it's talking about the left brain and the right brain and how they need to be integrated for us to lead a really integrated life. Okay. Yes. And for most of us, when we're in stress, they go like the left side hangs out over there on the right side, and they like look at each other like this, you know, like they're just
I like that. That's a good visual.
It doesn't work out, and they're not talking, and then we get stuff happening from there because we're not able to have that, you know, those two sides helping each other out, because it's important to have the balance. So cortices basically is a technique that I'll give you a video of. And you can post on the website.
Beautiful.
If that works. And then essentially it just lets you go through these hand positions. And in body talk we do tapping technique. You might have wondered. It's actually tapping on the head and the heart. And that gets everything shifting and switching and lets it all settle. So we're basically going through with our hands over the cortices, getting them all connecting up.
So what is a
cortices is a part of the brain, actually. So it's the main part of the brain. And so it actually turns it all on as well.
Turn on your brain.
Turn on the brain.
I love it.
Because what can happen when we get stressed is certain parts kind of
shut down.
Yeah, exactly. And we want to make sure everything's working.
Yeah, they've said that, you know, when we feel that we're being attacked, you know, like the hearing completely shuts down. We're actually not hearing. Like we don't hear the other person. Which is pretty amazing, which is why so many arguments happen, right?
Absolutely.
People aren't hearing each other. So how do we do that? What's a little
Do you want to see it?
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to take my hat off because my hair is pretty
oh, you look fat.
Pretty awful. Yeah. But down here, but basically you start at the base of your skull here. And so I'll get you to do this. And you're gonna just breathe nice and deep, and you're gonna tap on your head nice and light, and you're making sure to tap over both hemispheres, and you're kind of thinking of like, oh, my left brain is talking to my right brain here. Yeah. Good. And then you're gonna come down and you're gonna tap right over your sternum, actually, which is this bone right in the middle of the chest. Good. And then you're just going to move to the next spot. So we're just going to go over our whole brain, make sure we don't miss any. And then we're just going to do the same for the next spot. So you can see you've kind of moved my hand up to above my hat here. And then we're just going to tap that spot. And then come down and tap over the sternum, breathing all the way along. Nice. Feeling that? And then we just go to the next spot. Just like that.
Top of the head.
And top of the head.
And tap the top.
Tap the top. And then tap on the sternum. Nice deep breath. I love cortices.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? You start to sink in a little there.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
And then you just bring to the next spot. So most of us have 5 hand positions on our cranium here, from the back to the front, and we just tap that one.
Who doesn't?
Well, if we were little, because this is great for kids, amazing for children.
Beautiful. I love that.
And then tap over there. And I can't really do this last one very easily here, but Orgena can show you. So we're just going to go right above the eyebrows here. I'll just push my head up. Forehead.
I got it.
Yeah.
All right, so
there
back to the top.
It is. And then we're getting that frontal cortex, which is the one that's all the logical brain. So if you guys are thinking a lot, this is a nice one
I
to work
totally
with.
got dizzy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still kind of dizzy.
Don't fall off the bench. It's like a long fall down there.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, nice, right? Breathing deep.
Whoa. So does that mean I'm thinking too much?
Well, it means that everything's just reconnecting in there, which is perfect.
All right.
That's what you want. Nice. And then the last hand position, you're just going to come to the sides of the head. You know, again, with the hat, it's a little interesting here, but Orgena is going to demo. Yeah, look at that. And she's just going to hold for a second, let the hands just kind of build awareness in that area. And then when you're ready, you're going to bring one hand up and tap.
I am still moving. I don't know what that means. We'll talk later.
She's got good shifts going on.
Holy mackerel.
Nice.
Okay.
So pretty. And most of us have areas of the brain that are shut down, or the left and right hemispheres are not talking somewhere along the way.
Okay.
So most people will feel some shifts. Yeah. But what I find is I use this daily, and when I'm in any sort of stressful situation, I use this, or when I feel myself getting discombobulated.
Right.
And then bring your hands down. So everything's probably going to look a bit clearer. Yeah, take a moment.
There's like really, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm kind of in the ocean at the moment.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
That's good. That's good.
Whoa. Okay.
I'll just hold her,
hold
Gina.
on.
Yeah. So definitely things happening.
Yeah.
And it's it can be a powerful technique. So we have tons of stories in the Body Talk system. We use this often if someone has a first aid situation and they're in shock.
Wow.
This is huge, because what happens right away is the brain starts to shut down because it's under so much stress. Yeah. So we want to get it back on again.
Okay.
And so, you know, essentially using it on that level can be very powerful with, you know, seizures and all those sorts of things. It can be great. So.
Absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom, your journey, your experience, your work with horses, which are just one of my favorite beings on the planet. And I don't get enough of them, so you inspire me to connect more with them and see what they're teaching me, right? Let them teach me more. So so absolutely, you know, connect with Alexa and find out more about Body Talk or the Diva Project, whichever calls to you and that you feel might really help you on your path. Thank you so much for being with us today. Have a great one.
Bye.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for being with us today on our show. I really hope that there was something shared that really helps you shine your biggest and brightest light. Please stop by again, like us on Facebook, tweet us, all of those good things, and most importantly, please always remember, it's all about love.